Most people are living a lie. They believe success should feel comfortable, that progress should be easy, and that with the right strategy, every problem will naturally fix itself. But here's what no one wants to tell you: the road to everything you want is paved with uncomfortable truths that most people refuse to accept. Most choose to close their eyes, wrap themselves in positive quotes, and listen to promises of life hacks or shortcuts instead of facing the cold reality that if you don't learn to endure pain, be tested, and get thrown out of your comfort zone, you will live an average life, and you will convince yourself that it's enough. Stoics do not seek the easy path. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Love your fate even when it hurts." The truth is, if you want an unfair advantage in this life, you must be willing to do what most fear face reality, without sugarcoating, without filters, and without making allowances for your weak emotions. Today's command: own the game. Type it in the comments as a pledge that you will not just play, but master the game. This is Victory Stoic. If what you just heard made you uncomfortable but you couldn't look away, hit like, share it with a man who needs to wake up, and subscribe so that next time I won't have to find you, you'll hear me anyway. And the first uncomfortable truth: progress always comes with pain. You cannot want things to be easy and also want to break through. Here's why. Truth number 1. Progress always comes with pain. Pain is the entry fee for progress. If you don't pay it, you don't get in. Worse still, this fee never goes on sale. You can't pay later, and there are no refunds. The periods in your life when you grew the fastest were also the most uncomfortable. If you want to move forward, you have to get used to being uncomfortable. Look at it through the lens of biology. When you build muscle, you literally tear muscle fibers so they can rebuild stronger. The growing pains you felt as a child, that was your body developing faster than your bones could adapt. Scaling a business sounds impressive, but the stress doesn't go away. It only changes form. Elite athletes don't get stronger in light, easy sessions. They transform in the workouts that make them question everything, including why they are still there. Yet most men try to progress without accepting pain. They read another self-help book, take careful notes, highlight in multiple colors. But when it comes time to apply what they've learned, they say maybe tomorrow. Because today they're tired. They want to climb Everest, but only bring flip-flops. Stoics understand this. Epictetus once said, "Difficulties show a person's character." When life starts to squeeze you, that's not the moment to look for a shortcut. That's the moment to prove you truly want what you say you want. The biggest trap is confusing hard with wrong. If something makes you uncomfortable, your brain immediately labels it not right and looks for a way out. But that discomfort is the sign that you are leaving your comfort zone. And the comfort zone is the graveyard of potential. Think back the last time you felt proud of yourself. Was it when everything was easy? Or was it when you stood firm in a moment, when every cell in your body wanted you to quit? Progress is a ruthless trade. You put today's comfort on the table in exchange for tomorrow's strength. If you refuse to sign that contract, don't be surprised when your life stays exactly the same. You cannot want extraordinary growth and an easy life at the same time. Those two desires cancel each other out. And if you are still looking for a version of life that gives you both, here's the news: it doesn't exist. Truth number 2. Fear vs. regret. Are you afraid of failure? Good. But if you're more afraid of regret, that's when you become truly dangerous. Failure hurts for a few days, a few weeks, maybe a few months at most. Regret, it stays in your head for life, like a video on loop with no off button. At work, you might fear being rejected for a promotion, so you stay silent and don't apply. But 5 years later, you see the colleague who once sat next to you now sitting in the position you could have had. You force a smile and say, "Yeah, he's a better fit." but inside a voice keeps whispering, "You never even tried." In love, it's the same. You meet a woman who makes your heart race, but you're afraid of being rejected, so you stay quiet, waiting for the perfect moment. Bad news, that moment doesn't exist. Worst news, 3 months later, you see her laughing happily with someone else and realize your competition didn't do anything perfect at all. He just didn't wait. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You will regret more the things you didn't do than the things you did." Stoics don't try to avoid failure. They try to avoid regret. They know failure is just a scar. Regret is a deep, lingering wound. Ask yourself, when you're 80 years old, looking back at your life, do you want to see a list of falls or a list of opportunities you walked away from out of fear? If your answer is the falls, congratulations, you've chosen the right side, the side of those who dare. Because in the end, no one dies from failure. But many people have died without ever truly living. Truth number 3. Be happy but never complacent. There's a type of man who, once he achieves something, stops, pitches a tent, and hangs up a sign that says, "I've arrived." They treat their first success as a ticket to mental retirement. But life doesn't work like that. Beyond every peak is another peak. You can sit down to enjoy the view and take a sip of water. But if you stay too long, the sun will set and the cold will kill you. Happiness here is not complacency. Happiness is gratitude for the journey, enjoying the victory, but keeping your boots ready to walk. Humility is what makes this possible. When you're humble, you understand that your success is not a certificate saying done. It's just an invitation to the next round. Humility also protects you from delusions of power. You boast less and you waste less energy defending an image. Many men who succeed early and then collapse don't fail because they lost their skills. They fail because they were too busy bragging to keep learning. Humility keeps space in your mind for new knowledge, instead of filling it with old stories about past wins. Stoics understand that every victory is just one link in a much longer chain. Epictetus said, "No man is a master who stops being a student." And when you keep yourself a student, you won't get stuck on the old peak while the rest of the world climbs to the next one. Enjoy your wins, but don't package your life up to display it on a shelf labeled, "I succeeded once." Because if you stop moving, time won't stop with you. And one day you'll look around and realize everyone has gone further, not because they're better, but because they kept walking. Truth number 4. Most criticism is worthless. Here's a hard truth. Most of the criticism you hear says nothing about you. It says everything about the person saying it. In real life, people judge from their own perspective, with all their limits, fears, and failures packed inside. When someone who's never built anything bigger than a desk job evaluates your business plan, they're not telling you how bad it is, they're showing you how small their imagination is. Mediocre people criticize the most and the loudest because they pay no price for their words. They won't lose sleep for discouraging you, but if you believe them, you will lose sleep over opportunities they weren't even capable of understanding. At work, you'll hear, "That idea is too risky," from someone who's done the same desk job for 20 years. In love, you'll hear, "She's not right for you," from someone who's never been in a relationship longer than 6 months. And in every field, you'll find people who've never achieved what you want, yet are eager to give you advice. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If someone cannot swim, you do not ask them how to cross a river." So why let people with no results decide your direction? Stoics choose their sources, the way they choose their traveling companions. If they haven't been where you want to go, but their words are just noise. The lesson: listen selectively. Value criticism from those who have done and lived what you're aiming for. The rest, smile, nod, and keep moving. Because if you let mediocre people hold your map, don't be surprised when you end up exactly where they are. Truth number 5. The power of selective focus. True productivity doesn't come from adding more tasks, more projects, or more skills. It comes from cutting out everything that doesn't matter and pouring all your energy into one single goal. Sounds simple, but in reality, this is a skill 90% of men never master because they're addicted to feeling busy rather than being effective. Look at great scientists and inventors, and you'll see living proof of focus. Thomas Edison tested more than 1,000 times before finding a commercial light bulb. Nikola Tesla devoted his life to alternating current, ignoring every shortcut to quick money to focus on just one thing. James Dyson, creator of the famous vacuum cleaner, failed over 5,000 prototypes before succeeding. The common thread: they didn't let themselves get distracted by every interesting idea that came along. They said no to almost everything, so they could say yes to the one thing that truly mattered. Edison didn't try to invent the light bulb while also learning gourmet cooking. Dyson didn't design vacuums while running a coffee shop. The problem with most men is they try to run 5 roads at once, then wonder why they've gone nowhere. You want to start a business, learn guitar, hit the gym, write a book, and end up finishing none of them because your energy is scattered too thin to create momentum. Stoics know time and energy are finite resources. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Concentrate on one thing if it is the right thing, as if it is the only thing you were born to do." Selective focus means saying no to many good things so you can say yes to the great thing. And if you don't learn to eliminate, the world will gladly pile urgent tasks on you until your real dreams are buried under a mountain of unimportant work. Truth number 6. Persistence creates the golden moment. People often call life-changing moments luck. But real luck is rarely some random miracle. It's more like camping for months in a rainy forest, enduring damp nights, mosquito bites, and cold winds, and then one morning, the mist clears, the sun rises, and the entire forest lights up. Outsiders will say, that's magical. But they didn't see the dozens of nights you shivered in your tent just so you'd be ready to witness that moment. Luck is the world's name for the result of relentless preparation. Take the story of Louis Pasteur, the father of microbiology, who famously said chance favors the prepared mind. Pasteur didn't accidentally discover pasteurization. He spent years researching, experimenting, and failing so that when the opportunity appeared, he recognized it instantly and seized it. Similarly, J.K. Rowling didn't get lucky writing Harry Potter. Before the first book was published, she was rejected by more than a dozen publishers. Had she quit after the 5th or 10th rejection, luck would never have knocked on her door. The common thread: persistence keeps you in the game long enough for the golden moment to arrive. People who quit early don't fail because opportunity doesn't exist. They fail because they left the arena before it showed up. Stoics understand this. They don't pray for luck. They prepare, they act, and they stay. And when opportunity comes, they don't scramble, they simply step forward because they're ready. So if you're tired, remember, the magic moment could be just on the other side of your next challenge. And when it comes, the world will call it luck. Only you will know it's the result of not giving up. Truth number 7. Difficult conversations open doors. Most men fear difficult conversations the way they fear the dentist. They know it's necessary, but always find a reason to delay. The problem is, unlike a dental appointment, some opportunities in life disappear forever if you avoid them. It could be a conversation with your boss about the promotion you deserve. You fear hearing no, so you stay silent and watch a colleague take that spot. Or it could be a talk with your partner when you know the relationship is slipping. You fear making it worse, so you let it quietly die, and eventually it does. Paradoxically, the greatest potential for change often lies inside those hard conversations. When you dare to put on the table what everyone else is avoiding, you open a door no one else has had the courage to touch. That door might lead to a new opportunity, a better deal, or the clarity you need to move on. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If something is right, don't be afraid to say it. If something is wrong, don't be afraid to ask why." Stoics don't shy away from confrontation, but they also don't turn it into a pointless battle. They prepare, they speak plainly, and they accept whatever reaction comes because they know silence might feel safe today. But it's far more dangerous in the long run. The truth is, one hard sentence spoken now can save you years of regret. Stay silent, and you may spend the rest of your life haunted by the question, "What if?" A question that will never let you rest. Truth number 8. Envy is wasted energy. Envy is like paying rent for someone else's house while you still sleep on the street. You burn energy time and mental space thinking about someone else's life, while your own sits neglected like an old bike gathering dust. You see a coworker get a raise and think he just got lucky. You see your neighbor buy a new car and mutter, probably drowning in debt. You see an old friend post photos in the Maldives and scoff photoshopped, while you're busy tearing down someone else's achievements to feel less behind. They're busy living better. The truth is, envy won't move you forward even an inch. It's like standing at the starting line, yelling at other runners for being fast, and then wondering why you're not at the finish. Stoics don't waste energy tracking someone else's race. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Don't waste time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Every minute you spend watching others is a minute you're not using to fix yourself. If you really want to be better than someone, choose the one opponent you can't avoid the mediocre version of yourself. Beat him every day, go to bed earlier, train harder, work deeper, speak less nonsense. Beating yourself is cheaper, cleaner, and most importantly, it actually takes you further. Because in the end, envy is like drinking poison and hoping the other person dies. Focusing on self-improvement. That's how you become the person others start to envy. Truth number 9. Learn to endure the impossible. Most men hear the words impossible and turn back. Stoics do the opposite. They take it as an invitation. Limits aren't there to avoid. They're there to forge you. And ironically, those very limits are what make you more creative and more resilient. The thing is, you'll never be ready for life's big storms if you don't create a little weather for yourself every day. Start small, take a cold shower instead of a hot one. Walk instead of taking the escalator. Skip the donut instead of skipping the gym. These may seem minor, but they teach you a priceless lesson. Discomfort doesn't kill you, it hardens you. Remember, all progress lies outside the comfort zone. Want more endurance? Put yourself in environments that demand more than you think you have. Want more creativity? Work with fewer resources than you think you need and watch what you invent. Epictetus once said, "Difficulties are opportunities to reveal who you are." If everything is always easy, you become fragile, breaking at the smallest shock. But when you train your endurance daily, you turn into the kind of man who, when the world says impossible, simply smiles, "Watch me." Start with small challenges and gradually raise the bar. Don't wait for life to throw a real impossible at you before learning how to face it. By then, it will be too late to start training. Truth number 10. Results beat every excuse. In society, no one has a better imagination than someone looking for a reason to justify their own failure. I didn't get promoted because my boss plays favorites. I can't lose weight because of my body type. I didn't start my business because the economy is unstable. Sounds reasonable, but the truth is outside of you. Nobody cares. The game out there runs on a cold rule. Results are the only ticket. You can explain yourself so well that your friends nod along, but without results, you're still standing outside the line. That's why a salesperson who hits the quota gets the bonus, while the one who almost made it, but has a touching backstory, gets a pat on the shoulder and better luck next time. Society is like a boxing championship. The referee doesn't score you based on why you got punched, but on whether you stood up and won. No one hands out a belt for almost winning. Stoics understand this. Marcus Aurelius said, "Don't talk about being a good man. Be one." Promises, plans, and excuses don't pay rent, don't make you stronger, and don't make you more trustworthy. If you want people to listen, show them results. If all you have are excuses, keep them to yourself. Because outside of you, no one is collecting them. And honestly, no matter how full your excuse collection gets, it's never worth hanging on the wall. Truth number 11. The hard road is the only road. Everyone says they want to go far, but most people's first question is there a shortcut? Bad news, shortcuts exist, but they usually lead straight into a ditch. The hard road is the only road that takes you somewhere worth going. And that's why so few step onto it. Let me guess, you want a great body but still eat pizza 3 times a week. You want a career that moves upward but still watch Netflix until 2 a.m. You want an amazing relationship but avoid every hard conversation. If life were a sport, most men are playing the only train when the weather's nice version. The hard road demands discipline, and discipline is boring. No one gets excited hearing you say, "I wake up at 5 a.m., hit the gym, work 10 hours, and never skip a session." But those are the only kinds of stories that actually produce real results. Marcus Aurelius once said, "What stands in the way becomes the way." Stoics don't try to dodge obstacles. They use them as stepping stones. While others complain, "This is too hard," they're packing their bags to keep climbing. If you keep looking for the easy road, congratulations, your legs will never get tired. But you'll also never see the view from the top. And when you're standing at the bottom watching others celebrate above, you'll tell yourself, they were just lucky. Yes, lucky enough to have chosen the hard road from the start. Truth number 12. Own your responsibility. Every time you blame someone else, you're signing over the rights to control your life. I was late because of traffic. I failed because the client didn't understand the value. I'm unhappy because she changed. Sounds reasonable, but they all have one thing in common: you make yourself powerless in your own story. The reality is, no one's coming to save you, and no one cares to sit and listen to your explanations forever. People look at results, and those results have your name on them, good or bad. Taking responsibility doesn't mean taking the blame for things you didn't cause. It means saying, no matter the cause, I will be the one to fix it. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If it is humanly possible, then it is possible for me." When you accept that you alone are responsible, you instantly take back control. Stoics don't waste time playing what if. If traffic is bad, they leave earlier. If the client is difficult, they improve their presentation. If the relationship is breaking down, they act or they leave. Every move they make sends a clear message. I'm driving this car, and I'm not handing the wheel to anyone else. Blaming others might make you feel lighter for 5 minutes, but it will keep you stuck in the same place for 5 years. Taking responsibility is harder, but it's the only ticket to change direction. And if you're not holding the wheel, don't be surprised when your whole life just keeps circling the parking lot. Truth number 13. Consistency beats talent. The world is full of people with potential who vanish from the game after just a few rounds. They're fast, skilled, explosive for 3 months. Then they fade away like fireworks burning out. Meanwhile, the ones who aren't as flashy but are steady like dripping water quietly climb to the top. Talent helps you start fast, but consistency is what gets you to the finish line. Michael Jordan wasn't just gifted at basketball. He was the guy who got to practice earlier than everyone else and left later than everyone else. Stephen King didn't become the king of horror. just because he could write. He wrote every single day, even after 30 publishers rejected him. The problem is, consistency is boring. It doesn't give you the rush of a new beginning. But it's in that boredom that miracles happen. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If it's the right thing to do it whether people are watching or not." Stoics understand that success isn't a lucky jackpot. It's thousands of small steps repeated again and again until no one else can keep up. And when you're still there, step after step, long after everyone else has quit, you realize consistency doesn't just beat talent, it eats talent for breakfast. Truth number 14. Don't be ashamed to act. Most men fail not because they lack skill, but because they lack the simple act of opening their mouths and stepping forward. You see an opportunity, you want it, but then your mind whispers, that would be awkward. So you stand still and watch someone else walk in and take what you were just dreaming about. Shame in action is a form of self-handcuffing. It turns you into a spectator in your own life. Want a shot at a job? Send the email. Want to meet someone important? Walk up and introduce yourself. Want to ask her out for a drink? Open your mouth. Worst case scenario, you get rejected, and as we said in truth number 13, that's just a small scratch, it heals fast. But if you let shame take the wheel, you'll live with a wound called what if? And that one never heals. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Do the work you must do. Whether it's hard, whether it's awkward, if it's right, do it." Stoics understand that taking initiative not only brings opportunities, but also makes you the kind of man others trust, someone willing to take risks to get what he wants. Shame won't feed you, won't pay your bills, and won't bring the person you want into your life. But action, even clumsy action, can change the entire game. And if you must choose between a moment of awkwardness and a lifetime of regret, choose the awkward moment. Truth number 15. Never underestimate anyone. Underestimating others is the fastest way to shoot yourself in the foot. You never truly know who's in front of you. The waitress serving you today could be the founder of $1 million startup tomorrow. That quiet coworker could be a jiu-jitsu master who can lock you up in 5 seconds. The world is full of hidden masters in plain sight, people who don't show off, don't brag, but possess skills, knowledge, or networks you can't imagine. Stoics understand this because they believe everyone has a story you haven't read yet. Underestimating someone often means you miss chances to learn or collaborate. Disrespect them, and they won't open doors for you. Approach people with humility and curiosity, and you'll get more than you expected. Epictetus once said, "You have 2 ears, and 1 mouth, use them in that proportion." In other words, listen twice as much as you speak, and don't let your ego block your vision. Because the truth is, anyone you meet today could be the person who changes your life tomorrow, if you're wise enough not to judge them too soon. Conclusion: these truths aren't gentle. They won't stroke your ego. They're not sugar-coated or packaged as easy tips for success. They're rough stones, and if you know how to use them, they become stepping stones. Ignore them and you'll trip over them again and again. Most men search for an unfair advantage outside themselves, a trick, a secret tactic, a shortcut promise. But the real advantage comes from accepting these hard truths and making them instinct. When you know that pain is the entry fee for progress, when you fear regret more than failure, when your discipline is so strong that consistency outlasts talent, when you speak up, take action, take responsibility, and bow to no one, then you don't need to look for an advantage. You are the advantage. Strong men don't wish for an easier world. They get stronger so they can walk through the world as it is. And if you truly want your life to change, start today, not when you feel ready. That day will never come on its own. Today's command: accept the truth. Type it in the comments to lock it into your mind. This is Victory Stoic. If this woke you up like the video, share it with a man who needs to hear it and subscribe so you don't miss the next wake-up call.